Good evening, everyone. It's 7 p.m. I'm going to call the June 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Mill Creek Township Supervisors to order. Will you please rise for the pledge to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisor Morgan will not be attending the meeting tonight. He's on vacation this week. This meeting is being televised live online via GoLive via youtube.com at www.millcreektownship/meetings and recorded by WQLN for viewing on Spectrum Channel 1024 and youtube.com with closed captioning. Members of the public may attend in person in the General Assembly Room. Persons who wish to offer testimony at any hearing or to offer comments during the public comment portion of the meeting, but who do not wish to attend in person, must contact the Township Secretary, Cheryl Williams, at 833-1111 or swilliams@millcreektownship.com no later than 24 hours before the scheduled meeting to make arrangements to participate via telephone. Item 3 on the agenda is public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to number 4, approval of the minutes from the June 8th, 2021 regular meeting. Are there any comments about the minutes from that meeting?
I'll make a motion for approval of those minutes.
And I'll second. And Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 5 on the agenda is approval of the bills. Are there any comments about the bills?
I think we should pay the bills. I'll make a motion for that.
And I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to bids and quotations. The first item is a body camera amendment, the Mill Creek Police Department. Mr. Bach?
Yes, sir. We approved this, the purchase of body cameras and entering into a 5-year agreement with WatchGuard at our last meeting. This is an amendment to that agreement. Basically, the amendment is the first year we're eligible for a grant reimbursement. It's a one-time, 1-year grant in the amount of $21,462.45. So to maximize that grant money the first year, we are going to be paying more on the contract. The total price remains $115,245, but the initial payment will be increased to $43,284.20 up front. And what that does is that maximizes our grant money initially. So it's just a matter of a first year pay differential. We're also, instead of paying quarterly, this will be an annual installment where we're going to be paying $17,990.20 on an annual basis for 5 years. I think that about covers the changes from our last meeting in the quotation. If there's any questions or comments?
No, I think that makes sense. You know, I think as we've all agreed from the previous meeting, this purchasing body cameras for the police officers is, you know, a very worthwhile investment on the township's part. And, I'll make a motion to approve this amendment.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. The second item under bids and quotations is traffic signal batteries, Public Works Traffic Department. Mr. Snyder?
Good evening, gentlemen. Traffic is seeking permission to purchase 20 batteries for $4,980 from Traffic Products to replace ones that are dying out in 5 locations. These batteries are used as battery backups at traffic signals when the power goes out. It keeps the traffic lights running. The existing batteries were tested in these 5 locations, and they're only lasting 7 to 9 minutes. The new ones will last 3 to 4 hours depending on the traffic load. These batteries are also proprietary to the type of controller that we have in the cabinet. There was $5,000 in the capital budget for the purchase of new batteries. Minus the $4,980 will leave us $20 in reserves. It would be my recommendation to purchase the batteries from Traffic Products for the cost of $4,980.
Any comments or questions from the board?
No, I'll make a motion for approval of the purchase of those batteries.
And I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is traffic paint from the Traffic Department. Mr. Snyder?
Traffic is seeking permission to purchase 1,100 gallons of yellow traffic paint and 825 gallons of white traffic paint. Quotes were sought and received from PPG Paint for $25,475 and Sherwin-Williams Paint, $20,006.25. The purchase will be made using $13,011.50 from the traffic cabinet reserves and $6,994.75 from maintenance and repair budget, leaving the capital reserves for the cabinets zero balance and a $19,080.90 balance in the maintenance and repair budget. It would be my recommendation to purchase the traffic paint from Sherwin-Williams Paint for the price of $20,006.25.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No, I'll make a motion, Dan, for approval of that purchase from Sherwin-Williams.
Okay, and I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is traffic PreMark, also from the Traffic Department.
Yes, we are seeking to purchase various widths, lengths, and turning arrows of PreMark material. This material is burnt into the pavement and lasts longer than paint. This material is used for stop bars, turning arrows, and crosswalks in school zones. Enos and Flint is authorized to sell this material in the state of Pennsylvania. The cost of this material is $5,779.60 and would come out of the maintenance and repair budget, which has a balance of $19,080.90, which would leave us a balance of $13,301.30 in the maintenance and repair budget. It would be my recommendation to purchase the PreMark material from Enos and Flint for the cost of $5,779.60.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
No, I'll make a motion for approval of the purchase of PreMark from Enos and Flint.
Okay, and I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item up is the sewer relining, storm sewer relining on Bondi Drive, Public Works Sewer Department. Gary?
Yes, this is actually coming from streets. It is seeking permission to have 365 linear feet of 18-inch storm sewer pipe and 375 feet of 21-inch storm sewer pipe and 4 cross pipes relined on Bondi Drive. This work would be done by Insight Pipe Company for the CoStar's price of $75,610.20 under the CoStar's contract number 016. This area of pipe was cleaned and televised and has many deficiencies. There is $100,000 in the streets capital budget for a relining, minus the cost of the relining would leave $24,389.80 in reserves. It would be my recommendation to have Insight Pipe Company reline the trouble areas on Bondi Drive for the CoStar's price of $75,610.20.
Okay. Any questions or concerns?
No, just to make a correction in the recommendation, that's the balance left. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
It was my error.
That's okay. So
yeah.
I'll make a motion for approval of this through Insight Pipe at a CoStar's price of $75,610.20.
Okay, and I'll second. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is change order number 1, Mill Creek Township paving project, Phase 1. Gary?
This is a change order for the number 1 paving contract that we let out. The board, when we got the prices for the first paving contract, asked us to put a few more roads on that same contract. This change order would be for $457,439.23. It would be my recommendation to accept change order number 1 and have the board sign it so it can be passed on to Lindy Paving.
Any comments or questions?
No, sir.
There was a change in the amount. You revised it because there was a change in the amount of the change order. Should be $457,392.35
Okay.
for the second page of that
Okay,
agenda item.
all right, so noted.
It also should be noted that the, because the change order would put us over the amount that was budgeted for paving for this year, that is being allocated or covered by taking $300,000 for the Cider Mill Road Bridge replacement and $141,974 from the MS4 compliance budget in order to cover the amount of change order 1.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Any further comments or questions?
No, I'm just looking at, came across the roads that we added here on change order 1, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but these are being integrated into the existing roads that were already approved for the paving contract number 1. So I noticed a lot of these roads are, tied in with some of the roads we already approved, like in Bell Valley, Golden, and Winesap, are in close proximity to Jonathan Drive and some other roadways up here, Canterbury. So it, I just want to thank Dan personally for his effort to, lead this charge to get more roads paved this year. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is probably one of the most aggressive paving projects we've laid out in quite some time. So
Right.
I think the residents are going to be, the ones that are getting paved, they'll be very happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just makes sense to add on to these project areas, and it just makes a more efficient project for the contractor. They're already going to be in the area, so we also get a cost benefit to that too.
Right.
So it just makes sense.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1.
And I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. The next item is the Scott Park grant purchase, Parks and Recreation Department. I think I'll take that unless somebody else wants to. No, I'll do it.
It's all yours.
Okay. The Scott Park Rehab and Development Grant that was received through the DCNR included the purchase of new equipment for the park. The new equipment to be acquired includes 4 benches and 4 bleachers. These items are to be purchased through CoStar's vendors per grant requirements. The 4 benches are 6-foot-long green PVC with black frames and will be purchased from General Recreation for a total of $3,790. The athletic bleachers will be purchased from BSN Sports. They will be 5 rows, 15 feet long, with a vertical picket back and sideboard. The 4 bleachers in total will be $16,153.96. I think that's a 6. These will be purchased under CoStar's contract 014-079, both from CoStar's vendors in accordance with grant requirements, and are within the scope of the approved project budget. It's a recommendation of Ashley Marsteller to approve the purchase of these items to fulfill the Scott Park Rehab and Development Grant BRC PRD 24-99. I'll put that in the form of a motion for approval.
Okay, I'll second that then.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 7 on the agenda is Mill Creek Township Paving Project, Phase 2, bid announcement and award, Public Works. Mr. Snyder.
Public Works advertised for a second paving project for the township consisting of approximately 130,000 square yards of milling and paving on various roads in the township. We received 2 bids, the first from Joseph McCormick Construction for $1,855,121.06, and the second from Lindy Paving for $1,769,562.75. Public Works has reviewed these numbers and everything looked correct. The treasurer has located the needed funds, for which you have a copy. If approved, the township will have funded almost 24 miles of paving this year at a total cost of $4,785,541.10. It would be my recommendation to award the paving contract number 2 to Lindy Paving for the cost of $1,769,562.75.
Okay, thank you, Gary. We'll move into the resolution, Mark.
Sure. The source of the funding for this paving Phase 2 program is actually funds received from the federal government pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act. And as a result, we are putting forth a resolution to both approve the paving Phase 2 as well as approve the use of the funds to cover the cost of the paving. So in front of you is Resolution 2021 R35, which, as I indicated, is intended to award the paving project 2021 Part 2 to Lindy Paving based on it being the lowest qualified bidder, and to further authorize the use of funds from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 to pay for the project. The township was awarded a total amount of $5,860,073 under the American Rescue Plan Act, half of which it has already received. Under the Act, the township may reimburse itself annually the monies lost due to COVID-19 based on and when I say money, it's the general fund revenues lost due to COVID-19 based on a formula developed by the United States Treasury Department. Those monies can then be used by the township for any government services, which has been broadly defined under the Act and includes paving roads. Based on the formula as applied to the year 2020, Mill Creek is entitled to use $1,872,388.28 for government services. As a result, the entire cost of the paving project 2021 Part 2 is covered by the American Rescue Plan Act funding. This resolution approves the project and the funding of the project through the American Rescue Plan Act. These approvals are in the form of a resolution to ensure that the township is properly documenting its decision to use this funding for future reporting purposes under the Act. If anyone has any questions on the resolution. I would recommend, obviously, to pass the resolution and follow Gary's recommendation to award the Phase 2 project to Lindy Paving.
Okay. And there would be 2 separate actions.
The resolution
Another
covers
one.
both actions.
Okay.
So.
All right. Any comments or questions on Resolution 2021 R35? Is there a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2021 R35.
Okay, and I'll second. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, item 8 on the agenda are new and amended ordinances under review. The first one is Ordinance 2021-7. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, Ordinance 2021-7 relates to the board's approval of the rezoning at its last meeting of a property along Wilkins Road. This ordinance will be on the agenda for the next meeting, and this is simply formally amending the zoning code to to reflect the approval of the supervisors at the last meeting. It's really an administrative function that once the board approves a rezoning, we then have to actually amend the ordinance and follow the various notices that they're required under the second-class township code for these types of amendments. No action obviously is needed at this time.
Okay. Okay, the next item would be ordinance 2021-8.
Yes, also at the last meeting, the Board of Supervisors directed myself to draft an ordinance relating to the recommendation of the Fire Commission with respect to a records management system. I'm in the process of drafting that document, and hopefully we'll be in a position to present it to the supervisors for their review and possible vote at the next meeting on July 13th.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaw. Item number 9 on the agenda is Resolution 2021-R33, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. This month, what will be disposed of would be the MPD dash cam videos between June 23rd and July 13th of this year due to reaching the end of the required retention period. Any comments or questions on this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-R33.
And I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 10 is Resolution 2021-R34, a resolution of the Township of Mill Creek, Erie County, Pennsylvania, establishing an intermunicipal agreement for the purchase of materials and the provision of labor and equipment to resurface South Hill Road between Washington Avenue and Kuntz Road. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, this is a resolution required due to the nature of the two municipalities entering an agreement. The second-class township code requires the municipalities to enter into either a resolution or an ordinance to authorize these types of agreements. And as indicated, this is an agreement with Summit Township to pave a portion of South Hill Road for which both are responsible. Under the agreement, Mill Creek will provide the materials needed for the paving, and Summit will perform the paving. We have, as I indicated, we have a draft of the agreement out to Summit and are waiting to hear. But I would recommend to proceed to approve this resolution and agreement and authorize the chair to sign the agreement subject to solicitor's final review of any minor changes that Summit may make to the agreement.
Okay. Any comments?
Also, this was not a budgeted item, and the cost is being covered from some excess funds from the MS4 compliance line item in the capital budget. So that would have to be included in the vote.
And I think the estimated cost of the materials is about $24,000.
That's correct.
That's correct, right.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-R34 pending Summit's final review and acceptance of the agreement, and also make a motion for approval of the funds coming from the MS4 compliance to fund this project. And the amount of, preliminarily, the estimate is $24,000.
All right. I'll second that motion. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 11, the PADEP 902 Record of Operation and Application for Reimbursement. Mark?
Yes, the Millfair Recycling Center held a household hazardous waste collection event. I think it was May 17th, maybe it was May 15th, middle of May. And that is something that is funded in part by the PADEP. And they provided some statistics. 603 tires were collected, 38 batteries, 113 appliances, 26 propane tanks, 16,779 pounds of paper shredded, a big box truck full of construction and demolition, 2 pickup trucks full of textiles, 375 pounds of glass, and 11,120 pounds of scrap metal. We will be reimbursed for a portion of the cost of the program, and the grant requires the application to be signed by a supervisor. It would be my recommendation to go ahead and approve the signature of the application for the home hazardous waste event.
Okay. Any comments or questions on this item?
This is
Approval for us.
approving application to be reimbursed?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion for approval for this application for reimbursement. It's with the DEP.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'll second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes?
And I vote yes. Item 12 on the agenda is our electricity supplier agreement. Mark?
Yes, it's hard to believe it's been a couple of years since we've last did this, but it has. And our contract's expiring with the July meter reading. And once again, I used the same broker to research potential suppliers of electricity to the township. They came up with a list of roughly a dozen different suppliers, with the lowest bidder being Freepoint Energy Solutions. Their price came in at just over 5 cents a kilowatt hour, including the Pennsylvania gross receipts tax. And it would be my recommendation to approve the agreement and the addendum to the agreement, because there's some aspects of the agreement that are unique to government entities that the addendum covers, along with some wording that was required that wasn't covered in the standard agreement with Freepoint.
And I would add that the supplemental agreement is similar to the one that they had agreed to last time. There were a couple of issues that we saw that we needed to address. There was a question about the fact that we have solar panels and excluding that from a representation that we're not otherwise generating power, and some of the standard things we need for municipal contracts, right to know, and those types of things. So we have reviewed the agreement and would recommend its approval.
Okay, any comments or questions on this item?
I'll make a motion for approval of this supplier agreement with Freepoint Energy Solutions LLC as presented.
Okay, and I'll second. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 13 is the ESRI ArcGIS Small Enterprise License Agreement. Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. Good evening. In front of you is a quotation and an agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute Incorporated, better known as ESRI, for a small government team enterprise license. This license will grant the township access to unlimited installation of ESRI's desktop products and 100 licenses for ArcGIS online tools for employees. It also includes GIS analysis and system monitoring software. The enterprise agreement will incorporate, replace, and expand the existing agreements that township departments have with ESRI. The total for the 3-year agreement is $119,658 to be paid in installments of $39,886 per year. ESRI's price is based on population, and although we are over 50,000 residents, they have quoted us at the 25,001 to 55,000 resident tier with an additional $1,386 annually to cover the difference. Currently, the township has 3 separate contracts with ESRI, one for the police department, one through emergency management, and the former sewer authority's deployment that the township inherited. These contracts total $16,145 a year and provide GIS capability to a limited user group. The enterprise agreement would cover all of the existing users, as well as allowing the township to expand access to the rest of its workforce. This will allow all employees access to GIS data that is relevant to their department and allow field crews to collect information that can be instantly visible to all users for real-time project and incident management. In addition, this will give the township the capability in the future to create and share GIS data through its website, increasing communication and transparency with residents. The agreement does have a clause that would allow the township to end the contract early if the supervisors chose not to fund the project in any future year. I recommend that the board approve this 3-year agreement with ESRI. Deployment of a township-wide GIS system was one of the goals for the Planning and Development Department for 2021, and the license fee of $39,886 for this year would be paid from the ArcGIS online line item in Planning and Development's capital budget. That line item currently has a balance of $46,750, and this would leave $6,864 for additional implementation items.
I would add that we have been reviewing the agreements and are looking at, as Matt indicated, consolidating, all of the products that ESRI provides and ensuring that, we properly kind of terminate the old agreements, wind them up into this one, and that will likely result in a supplement similar to what we did with the electricity provider. We would, given that we have come to agreement on the basic terms of the agreement in terms of cost and length of term and so forth, and those other important types of provisions, we would recommend that the approval of this agreement and authorizing the chairman to execute the agreement subject to the solicitor's approval of the final version of the agreement.
Okay, any comments or questions?
No, sir. I'll make a motion to approve this license agreement in the amount of $119,658, subject to the final version being approved.
Okay, and I will second. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Item 14 is a financial software agreement. Mark?
Yes. Although it's captioned a financial software upgrade, it's actually quite a bit more than just that. It is a replacement of the current Tyler New World system that is in use in many departments in the township. And this software was reviewed by a cross-functional team, including myself, the assistant treasurer, Melanie Page, the accountant, HR coordinator, accountant for the store department, Sean McClellan, Ashley Marsteller, Jessica Stutzman, Matt, and many of his folks, because it was actually the zoning people as well as code enforcement. And so that we made sure that the software that we finally select would meet the needs of all the various users. Unlike previous, the Tyler implementation, I guess it was 2008, it was kind of forced upon everybody. So through this process, we started off looking through many vendors and narrowed it down finally to 2. There was Edmunds GovTech and BS&A software out of Michigan. The final review was done. We talked to users of the software. I know it was a township that was using the broader package that included community development kind of aspects was looked at by Matt's group. Myself and Melanie and Sean went out to Harbor Creek, where they're using the basic financial software, and we are going to recommend that the decision to select Edmunds GovTech as the replacement software at a cost of $133,355. BSNA came in at $233,565, and the amount of the software purchase is covered under a strategic management, I don't know, it's a stump grant, SMTP, from DCED in the amount of $115,115. So we're under budget on the grant amount, and so the grant will cover the entire cost of the software and installation. And it's my recommendation, with the help of so very many people, to select this particular vendor for the software. The agreement has been reviewed in part, but maybe not entirely, by the solicitor, and there's still some aspects of that review that's ongoing. So it would be, the recommendation would also be to sign this agreement pending the final resolution of any issues that the solicitor may have with regard to the software agreement.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Mark, do you have any comments on that?
No, just that we're still in the process of review, and again, as Mark indicated, we would recommend that any approval be subject to our review and approval of the agreement.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Dan, I'll make a motion for approval of this financial software agreement and upgrade with Edmunds GovTech, pending a final review by the solicitor, final approval of that.
Okay.
And I would just say that's the amount of $133,355.
All right. I'll second that. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to communications, anything from the treasurer?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Next item will be hiring requests, Public Works Streets Department. Mr. Snyder?
Yes, this comes from Diane Lyons, the head of our HR department. We'd like to hire a new fellow for street maintenance labor due to a retirement. So this would be a new one. It would be replacing somebody that's there already. The gentleman we're suggesting is William Trainer. His hire date would be 6/21/21 at the rate of $20.20 per hour. That is with the contract, in the contract for this year. And so it would be our recommendation that we hire Mr. Trainer for the new position.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the board?
No, sir, I'll make a motion for approval for new hire, William Trainer, streets maintenance labor at the rate of $20.20 per hour.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item up is Parks and Recreation, summer employees. This is from Ashley Marsteller. She's provided a list of 7 new employees for the summer programs, ranging from lifeguards to concession and youth dance instructors. Pay rates range from $9.50 to $11 an hour. I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second that, Dan.
Okay. Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item up is a request from Police Dispatch. Mr. Bach?
Okay, we have a request from Diane Lyons, requesting to fill 2 part-time dispatcher positions. This is to increase our pool of part-time dispatchers to have to fill shifts that are needed to be filled. So she's requesting to start the process to get a couple more dispatchers on the roster to fill some shifts.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
all right, and I'll second that. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item up is the PSATS Regional Forum. Last I knew, myself and Mr. Morgan were both interested. Cheryl, were anybody else interested? Okay.
I noticed there were some classes on there I thought maybe Diane would be interested in. I don't know. I think there's an HR related class, but I don't know. She was,
I hadn't said anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was posted and open to those that were interested.
okay.
But at this point, there's two people that would be interested in attending at $75 each because they are PSATS members. I'll put down the
I'll
floor.
stay here and hold down the fort
Okay,
while you guys are getting smarter.
I'll put that in the form of a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Did that include the smarter part?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Wow. All right. Executive sessions were held on June 10th and the 17th to discuss various legal issues. Any communications from our solicitor?
No, none at this time. I'll stop while I'm behind.
Thank you. Moving on to citizens to be heard. Sir, please come on up. Step up to the podium here and please tell us your name and your address.
My name is Joseph Fracassi. I live and own the property at 2521 South Tracy. And I know you're doing a lot of work at Scott Park, and I know I've asked you, Dan, about a dog park down there. If you would consider putting at least a chain link up that would be just for dogs. And there's a lot of people in my neighborhood, and down below, Summerheim and Sybil and all down and through there that go there. But it's kind of tough to let the dogs off when there's nowhere to let them off. So I don't know if you can find it in the budget to do something like that.
Okay.
Maybe fenced in area, like chain link with nothing special, just somewhere for them to run off leash.
All right. Yeah, we can certainly look into that, Mr. Fracassi.
Okay, and there was another concern I had on Tracy. When you come in on Tracy off of Summerheim, and you pull in on North Tracy, there's a no outlet sign. Then you go down a little ways, and there's a neighborhood watch sign. And on the corner, that road kind of widens out. It's almost like a little cul-de-sac down there where kids play basketball and that. There's 2 or 3 young families, and I'm thinking if you could put a watch children, like right under the neighborhood watch sign further back when you first come on to North Tracy, and then put another one down on South Tracy. Just a matter of the same, you have those signs on Summerheim now, which I don't know if you have them there pertaining to the school, but they're really not near the school. They, you know, if we could use a couple of them right on Tracy, on North and South Tracy.
Okay.
And the poles are there, it's just a matter of bolting a sign to it. That would be a big help. I talked to the young families there, and they thought that would be a good idea. And I told them I'd bring that up at the meeting.
Okay. All right.
And then there's one other concern I have. When you pull up Summerheim and you go out onto A Street to turn to the right, the hotel there, I know before a previous supervisor had them trim those hedges because you can't see. So he had them trim the hedges back, so when you creep out onto A Street, you can see what's coming from the east.
Right.
So that would be another request I'd have.
We can certainly address that. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay. We'll take care of that for you.
okay, thanks.
All right.
Thanks for
Thank you,
listening.
sir.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Can't believe we're done so quick. I make a motion for adjournment.
And I'll second. Meeting's adjourned at 7:45.